Hi, Martin.
Hi, Professor Gruber. How are you?
Hi, Mr. Bakari.
I'm
So glad to see you.
happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, Bill sends his regards.
Oh, you send him my best and tell him, I said congratulations.
Will do. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're just waiting for.
Hi, Martin.
Hello, who is that speaking?
It's Maria.
Oh my gosh, my dear Maria. It's
How
so,
are
you know,
you?
I'm very well. I can't see you right now, but I'm looking for you.
Oh,
There you are. I see you. Wonderful. Oh my
yeah.
God, you look great. You look great. Professor
Thank you.
Spacagna.
That's me.
Wow, it's such a treat to be back, even in this virtual way.
I know. We're
I'm
happy
calling
to
in.
have you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, you were my introduction to Carnegie Mellon. You were kind enough to bring me over when I was singing with the opera, you're in a wonderful place. And I
I
at least for 50 minutes today will be there as well.
Yes, you will. You will. The kids will love you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I think we have most people now, I'm hoping. And I don't want to take much time away from your work with the students because I know Michael and Michael are interested in getting to work with you as soon as possible. But I did want to give a brief introduction in case somebody didn't have a chance to read the bio that went around of all your accomplishments. So very, very briefly, I'm very thrilled to introduce Martin Bakari to all of you. If you have not met him or seen him sing before, he is a wonderful, wonderful tenor. and obviously has had a chance to work with Maria Spicagna and knows Maria Spicagna from probably a few years ago.
Boston University, yeah.
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 He is a graduate of the Boston University Opera Institute as well as the Juilliard School, and also studied at the Royal College of Music in London. He is the 2018 winner of the prestigious George London competition, and has also been lauded with numerous other awards and has won many other competitions. He's a champion of contemporary and standard operatic concert and recital work. And he's sung throughout Europe, Israel, and the United States. He's no stranger to Pittsburgh, having sung at Pittsburgh Opera in the world premiere of The Summer King, as he mentioned a moment ago. And he's also appeared in The Long Walk a couple of years ago. And later this spring, he will be playing Charlie Parker in Charlie Parker's Yardbird, also with Pittsburgh Opera. So if you're around, I think it's in May. Is that correct, Martin? Perhaps.
You asked me too fast. Yeah, April, end of April.
April. So we'll all be around there. We should at least tune in if it's going to be virtual, and if we can go in person, perhaps there's that opportunity too. So, but anyway, welcome back to Carnegie Mellon, Martin Bakari. We're so happy to have you, and thank you so much for working with our students today. And without any further ado.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to be here. It is my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I won't say anything else about myself that was as beautiful as anything I could say. If you're curious about other things that I've done, you can go on my website, martinbakari.com, or you can ask me in the Q&A that will follow at the end of our session here. So without further ado, I'd love to hear some singing. It looks as though someone named Michael Madison is ready. Michael, would you like to sing?
Absolutely, I'd love to.
Wonderful, Michael. So your name is Michael Madison, and you are what year?
I am a first-year master's student here.
Excellent. I'm sorry, with whom?
With Daniel Teat.
Excellent. And where are you from?
I'm from Des Moines, Iowa.
Wonderful. So yeah, great opera company there, and a lot of amazing singers from that state. I don't know what it is about Iowa. I grew up not far away in Ohio. But I would say Iowa, per capita might have the greatest singers in the United States. But whatever the case may be, I would love to hear what you're singing.
Absolutely. So this afternoon I will be singing Come pare de vezzoso from L'Elisa d'Amore. And Mike Clark, who's a collaborative piano student here under Jocelyn Dueck, will be accompanying me.
Excellent. Could you say the name of your pianist again?
Mike Clark.
Mike Clark. So it's all Mikes today.
It is, I guess, yeah.
Wow, cool. It makes my job easy. I'm always worried about forgetting people's names. So Mike, and Mike. It's like a sitcom or something. But great. So I tend to like to let folks know what this is. Not everyone's fluent in Italian like you and me, Michael. So I have to I want to let people know what this is about. In fact, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what is happening here in L'Elisir d'Amore.
Sure. So this is really early on in the opera. This is my character Bakari's first aria. He's this super pompous, self-important sergeant in the army, and he comes into this town, sees this beautiful woman, and is like, obviously, because I'm this sergeant, I'm attractive, I'm gallant. I obviously she's gonna fall in love with me. And that is basically the aria, is me being like, wow, I'm really great. I just like all of these myths and legends and these gods, I can make you fall in love with me because I'm so awesome.
Right, absolutely. And for those who aren't familiar with the opera, I mean, this is really what he's saying. This isn't his subtext. He is literally saying this. In fact, I'm just going to sort of maybe read a little bit of the translation here. Let's see. So it's as charming Paris gave the apple to the most beautiful, my darling rustic girl, I give you these flowers. But more glorious than he, I am happier than he, because as a reward for my gift, I carry off your lovely heart. And then he goes on to say, let's see, I see in that little face that I have penetrated your heart. He straight up says it. This isn't like one of those asides that we do in opera in the parentheses. He actually says that out loud. And then he says, it's not anything surprising. I'm gallant. I'm a sergeant. There is no beauty who can resist the sight of a military uniform. That's great. And then he says, to Mars, the god of war, even the mother of love yielded, right? And you get the sense that he too believes that he could do the same to the mother of love. But without, I'd love to hear you sing it.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Veggo chiaro in quel visino ch'io fo breccia nel tuo petto. Non è cosa sorprendente, son galante e son sargente. Non fa bella che resista alla vista d'un cimiero. Sceglie a Marte Dio guerriero, fin la madre dell'amor. Sceglie a Marte Dio guerriero, fin la madre dell'amor. Sceglie a Marte Dio guerriero, fin la
Right, bravo, Michele. Wow, this is really advanced. Somebody muted me without muting myself, but well done, Michael. This is really beautiful and elegant singing. Really, really wonderful. I thank you for bringing this in today. I love working on this music in general, but especially with somebody who is already as accomplished and as refined as you are. This is really, really, really wonderful. Just a few things, let's just start actually just by talking about, I mean, there are all these comments. This is one of the things I love about Zoom is, people can tell you immediately how they feel about you. So that's really great. It's like social media. But whatever the case may be, it's one of the things that I noticed immediately is you sing this with an elegance and a grace that you rarely see. Sometimes you see a Belcore that's almost like a buffo character, you know what I mean? And of course, there's this sort of militaristic nature to the melody and to the rhythm. But at the same time, I think that it's possible to sing it with this elegance, and you've shown that. One thing that I think that you can do, because you're already such accomplished and and graceful musician is I think you can differentiate between the sort of more angular, sort of rigid militaristic rhythms and then the more sort of elegant and lyrical phrases. You know, for example, just on these first few phrases, you know, for example, this is more militaristic, right? There's the rhythm is very, very, you know, with the 16th note, as notes and the dotted quarters and dotted eighths. And then we've got a more sort of lyrical phrase with the triplets. And then back to that more rigid rhythm, right? And then this next phrase is actually sort of a combination of the two, right? It sort of starts more rigid and then it's a little bit more lyrical. Io ti porgo questi fior. So do you mind just doing maybe that first page up to that point, you know, with that in mind, and really exaggerate it? I mean, it seems sometimes like it might be a little overdone, but I often find that when it comes to these types of things, especially when somebody's as sensitive as you are, you know, I highly doubt that you're going to do anything that's going to be sort of egregious or sort of self-indulgent here. Whenever you're ready, from the beginning. Maybe just a bar or two before you come in.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Right. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Very nice. So that adds a certain texture, you know, to the melody, and it gives you a chance to sort of highlight your musicality, which is really very, very, very fine. You know, I would love to also just take a look at the recitative, you know, the sort of quasi recitativo. It's not really recit, but it kind of feels like it. This sort of accompagnato recitativo, you know, from Veggo chiaro in quel visino. So this is, you know, oftentimes music like this is very misleading, because you have these notes, you have like, you know, 32nd and 64th notes, and it seems like, oh, has to be fast. It looks fast on the page. It doesn't actually have to be fast. You know what I mean? It even says a piacere, which means, you know, at your pleasure. You know, you can basically do it as fast or slow as you want to. And it should feel like it's in the character of what it is that you're saying. So in this moment, you know, you're saying Veggo chiaro in quel visino, which means to you, what are you saying here?
It's, well, literally, I can see it in your face. It's very like I said, self-indulgent. Like, I can tell I already got you hooked, you know.
Right, exactly right. And it's I mean, it's an incredibly bold thing to say, right? But you know, and there's this sort of all of a sudden it's in C major, you know. So you know, you've been in F major this whole time, and all of a sudden you're in C major. So it's you know, it's a shift in character. And so what's happening here is, you know, you've sort of laid it on already. It's almost like you've already rehearsed what you did before, and now what you're saying is a little bit more sort of spontaneous. You're speaking more directly, and it's not as sort of pre-planned. And so this should really be a little bit more sort of in the rhythm of how you would say it. Do you mind just saying that line, Veggo chiaro in quel visino, as you would?
Yep. Veggo chiaro in quel visino.
Good. And how do you feel about that? You feel, I imagine, you know, proud of yourself, right? And then probably also excited, because you know, it only took one verse and you've already, you know, she's already smitten in your mind, at least, right? And so you're pretty happy about that, right? And maybe, like, you know, a little bit smug about it too, like, hey, already, you know, you're feeling me. So with that in mind, maybe say it that way, and you can take your time in saying it too. It doesn't have to be quite so fast.
Sure.
Just speaking.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just speaking.
Veggo chiaro in quel visino.
Good. And honestly, I would, because there's a little accent over the veg, I would actually sustain that when you sing it. Veggo chiaro in quel visino. So maybe, yeah, right. So as just so you can at least get the voice spinning a little bit, you know what I mean? So with that in mind, just try that first line. Veggo chiaro in quel visino, just that much.
Veggo chiaro in quel visino.
Right. And I think it'll be a little bit more Italian if it's just chiaro. It's sort of, right now, it's sort of chiaro. Vengo chiaro. It's sort of like a J glide instead of an actual I. Vengo chiaro.
Veggo chiaro in quel visino.
Good. And then speak this next line.
Ch'io fo breccia nel tuo petto.
Good. And what does that mean?
It's like I've already broken you down. I've already reduced you to.
Right. It's sort of like I've already breached into your chest, which I think would sort of translate. It'd be sort of like saying I've already touched your heart, so to speak.
Sure.
And so with that in mind, speak it with that in mind. I feel like it's a little bit more flirtatious and sort of proud of oneself than it is, ha, I've done it. You know what I mean? Speak it with that in mind.
Ch'io fo breccia nel tuo petto.
Good. Now sing that line with that in mind. Ch'io fo breccia.
Ch'io fo breccia nel tuo petto.
Yeah, good. The breccia nel tuo, that section doesn't have to be nearly as fast, you know?
Okay.
I feel like it's a sort of flirty moment. I almost imagine, I don't know if I've seen this in a production, but I imagine him almost coming up to her and sort of touching her on the nose. You know, ch'io fo breccia nel tuo petto. You know what I mean? So with that sort of flirty character, if you will, from there. Ch'io
fo breccia nel tuo petto.
Good. Slow it down so you can really sing all those notes. It shouldn't be so fast that I can't hear all the notes. Sorry, I know I'm very, very nitpicky. And I hope, is there somebody keeping track of time, or should I be doing that?
I can keep track for you. I'll chat.
That'd be great. Could I get like a 2-minute warning or something like that?
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Great. So just take your time. It's really not as long a phrase as it seems, and take your time so that it's musical. You know, so that it's musical and that it has a sort of expressive character.
Ch'io fo breccia nel tuo petto.
Yeah, very nice. I hear much more expression in that, and it's more elegant. It's more lyrical. I can hear more of the notes, and it's more musical. It's more musical. Really, really nice. So let's go on to the next one. Let's see. Non è cosa sorprendente. So what are you saying here?
It's no surprise.
Yeah, and then?
That I've pierced your heart, that I've made you fall in love with me.
Right. Why? Why is it no surprise?
What was that?
I said, why is it no surprise? The next lines he explains why it's not surprising, right?
Because I'm gallant and I'm a sergeant.
Right, exactly. Who wouldn't fall for me immediately, right? And so speak that Italian text with that in mind. Non è cosa
sorprendente. Son galante e son sargente.
Right, great. Let's hear you sing it. Non è cosa
sorprendente. Son galante e son sargente.
Very nice, very nice. I could see this sort of mass, like these 10 notes all together being almost like a laugh, you know, but I'm not surprised, you know. Non è cosa sorprendente. Right? It's all of these little sort of melismatic figures. I think we think of them as being virtuosic, you know, and sometimes they are, but more often than not, they're really expressive gestures, you know, expressive ornamental gestures. And so with that in mind, don't worry about it sounding impressive. Don't worry about it being fast. It really doesn't have to be fast. I'll tell you, most people would rather hear something that's infused with emotion and expression and musical than something that makes them go, wow, that was really fast. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind when you're singing this. Non è
cosa sorprendente. Son galante e son sargente.
Yeah, and I think that the rhythm should be a little bit clearer for this, because this is when the orchestra comes back in. Son sargente. Make sure that those are really triplets. It'll be easier for you've got a really talented pianist behind you and Michael who would be able to follow you, you know, to hell and back. But you know, it's hard when you're bringing in a bunch of people. So let those triplets be clear. The first two can take as much time as you want. And then make these clear. Son sargente. Okay, just one more time.
Son sargente.
Good. Very nice. And so let's see here. You know, let's just continue. Let's continue.
Sure.
Non vabbè.
Yeah.
Oh, why not?
Okay. Right on it.
Non va bella che resista alla vista d'un cimiero.
Here. Cool. Let me help you out with this really quick. These are tricky little figures on two tricky vowels in that part of your range. So see if you can modify to a little bit of an on the it'll maybe help you turn it over a little bit more easily. And then the dun on the dun, give that a little bit more space. I'm not really hearing the pitch on the D because you're going to the end so soon. And honestly, you could sing it that long and Michael would stay with you. So sing that as long as you need to in order for there to be a nice, comfortable, pure vowel up there on the oo vowel. So let's just go from, you don't, for our purposes, we don't need the piano right now, but just, so, la bella, don cimiero. Give that a shot.
Alla vista d'un cimiero.
Good, nice. I think that oo can actually have a little bit more space. Do, like almost like oh, you're singing oh basically. Just try do.
D'un cimiero.
Good. I like that. That's not offensive to me, but you might have to split the difference for someone else. I like that. There's more resonance in that, and it's a little bit clearer. Let's continue. Okay, yeah. So I probably have about a minute left. You know, the coloratura was good. Do you mind working on that F at the end with me?
Sure, we can do it.
Let's just do the cadenza. I don't remember what you do. Whatever it is. We don't need the piano, but maybe the pianist can give you a pitch or something. Good. L'amor. This is gonna sound crazy. Try singing moo. Sing ooh up there. L'amor. It doesn't sound right in my voice because I'm a high tenor. Try it. Just try it. If it sounds crazy, I'll apologize on both of our behalves.
Okay.
Just from d'amor. Just that. Yeah. So honestly, that actually sounds like it's in a healthier position. All it really requires, because it's a closed vowel, d'amor, right?
Yeah.
And you literally sang ooh. So now all you have to do is really open it up a little bit more. You'll have a little bit more space, a little bit more resonance, and then it'll probably feel like it's not as stuffed in there. Just try that phrase, d'amor, or however it is that you approach it. Yeah. Now from that position, see how open you can open your mouth.
Okay.
That's nice. I really like that. For one, there's probably in your ear, it's probably not as loud as you want it to be. I promise you it's louder than you think it is. It's just the weird way that our heads work, like in terms of the acoustics of what's going on in here. But also at the same time, there's so many more overtones in that. It's a richer sound. It's not as open and spread,
Yeah.
And frankly, it sounds more like the word. You know what I mean? It sounds more like the actual vowel. So Michael, I think I've got to move on, unfortunately. But this was really, really great. I want to hear you sing it from beginning to end again, but unfortunately we don't have the time to do this. Hopefully we'll get a chance to work together or at least cross paths in person sometime in the not too distant future. But let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out. I've got, if you find me on Instagram, you can shoot me a message. I know I gave you a lot of information in a short time. But yeah, everybody who feels inclined, write a message and tell Michael how great he sounds, particularly the adjustments that he made, because I know sometimes we've all been in a situation where a crazy person like me shows up and says, hey, do this. It's completely different from what you've been doing, but it sounds better. And you're sort of like, okay, whatever you say, dude. And it'll be helpful for you all to, so he doesn't have to just take my word for it. He can hear from you all as well. So great job, Michael. I'd love to hear another Michael. I hear there's a tenor Michael as well. Everybody give him a hand, a snap or something.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you, Michael, the pianist.
Hello, I'm the third Michael.
Excellent. There you are. Great, Michael. And Michael, what's your last name so I can differentiate?
It's Valley Capel.
Wow, that's a cool name. I don't think I've ever heard that before. What's the origin?
It's South Indian. It's from
Cool.
Kerala. Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Cool, man. Well, I'm glad to have you here with us. You are what year?
I'm a first-year graduate student in Maria's studio.
Oh, great. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, Ms. Spacagna is very near and dear to my heart. She was working at Boston University when I was an undergrad there, and she, I won't embarrass her, but I mean, you all know how wonderful and generous and kind she is, and I honestly wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing with you all, but also, singing the way that I'm singing if it weren't for her. So it's wonderful to see her, and we'll have to catch up some other time when I'm not here to help students. But anyway, so you're a first-year master's student, and you're from where?
I'm from Houston, Texas, and that's where I am right now.
Oh, you're in Houston. Cool. I'm in Seattle, Washington. This is beautiful how we can all be doing this right now. And you would like to sing what?
I would love to sing. Wow, I just blanked. I would love to sing Avukella.
Avukella.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm having Ellen Risinger play on my recorded piano track.
Great.
So,
well, we'll thank Ellen wherever she is. Can you tell us a little bit about Avukella?
sure. The poem is by Gabriel D'Annunzio. It's a really cute poem. I'm just saying that, this woman is like a small flower and she has a small mouth and it's a little bit withered, but I'd love to give it a kiss, to bring it some life.
Wow. Yeah. It's one of my favorite songs, honestly. I love this song, and I can already tell that you're going to bring something really special to it. And this is, of course, by Francesco Paolo Tosti, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Excellent. Let's hear it.
Okay.
You can cue up Ellen, I think was her name.
cocorrillo acqua sulla tenda. Sì, una buttella, poco cocorrillo acqua sulla tenda.
Bravo, Michael. Beautiful, beautiful. I love your expression. You have a wonderful voice, but you also have such a great feel for this music. This is actually really, it sounds very simple, but it's actually very difficult to execute, not to mention to a recording because of all the sort of flexibility that is required for this music to actually be enjoyable to listen to. It's hard to, coordinate, it's hard to coordinate with somebody who, is not in the room with you. So kudos to you. Really, really well done. There are a few words that you said correctly, but maybe in a way that's a little bit different from what we're accustomed to hearing from Italian diction. For example, damillo versus damillo, and vasillo instead of vasillo. Could you explain to our folks why that is?
Yeah, it's how they do it in the Neapolitan dialect. There are some really weird like schwa endings that I've just discovered today. So
yeah, well, you did a great job. And truth be told, if you listen to Italian singers, sometimes they do all of them, sometimes they do half of them, sometimes they do none of them. But I think that you found a nice balance. Some of them, even myself, I don't like to do. I don't generally like to make the schwa out of an ending but typically what you'll hear is a lot of unstressed final O's, like Damile, Vasile, new shorilla, things like that, that end with a schwa, which, frankly, I haven't actually studied Neapolitan dialect, but to my ear, it's almost like a sort of French mute, like sort of like the OE that we say at the end of like, nature or,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not quite an like we have in our language. And I think you're doing it really beautifully. It sings better that way. Really, really wonderful. So how much have you talked about the idea of portamento with your teachers and coaches?
Well, for this song, I haven't done that much work with my teacher and with my coach. I've maybe had like one coaching on it and like one lesson or two on it. So, I just kind of winged it. I was thinking of Corelli and how he did it in like the Tokyo concert in '71.
Oh, okay. Sure. I know what you mean. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, this music, I mean, it's almost like a folk song. These Neapolitan songs, they're done. They're honestly, there's basically no way that you can overdo the sort of schmaltz and the sort of self-indulgence, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? And in this music, in Italian music in general, even with the Belcore aria that we were just working on, we need this portamento in Italian music. This is where we get the the romance, the expression, the French, they have accent d'insistance, and the Italians, they have portamento, you know what I mean? And it gives a sense of anticipation, to the melody. It moves it forward. And also it helps significantly with legato. And so what I'm going to ask you to do, is to sing this. If you're doing it right, it's going to feel really sloppy. And I'm actually going to ask you to do it on just the vowels, just from the beginning. So, that's sloppy and really sliding between the notes, right? Without the recording. Really, really good, really, really good. So I know that probably feels really odd to do that much sort of sliding around. It probably seems like a little bit too much, but now add the consonants. I promise you, don't take away any of the sliding. It's going to sound super Neapolitan. Si, si.
sì, come hanno giorino, tutti hanno quell'hanno poco grillo, a suonatella.
Really nice. Did that feel and sound messy to you?
You know, when I sang it the first time, it felt kind of sloppy. This feels really sloppy, but I guess it works. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to say, for one, it sounds really, really great. It sounds the legato is superb. It sounds easier to do too, because you're not having to sing individual notes. You're just singing these long phrases, you know, and then you're just sort of placing the consonants in. This is really what legato singing is, just in general, but particularly when it comes to Italian music. I'd love for some people to drop some comments so he doesn't think I'm crazy, because I know how this feels. It feels like you're like scooping and slurping all over the place. And to me, this is not scooping. There's a difference between scooping and sliding. You know what I mean? And this is scooping. Scooping we try not to do as tenors. You know, for technical reasons, it can be problematic. But this isn't scooping. This is just sliding. You can, I don't know if you can see these comments, but hopefully you can go back and take a look at them, because people are freaking out, because it sounds really great, as I said. Let's continue. Same idea. In fact, let's not slide. Just try to apply that, because we only have so much time. Just try to apply that same principle to the next verse. Me damilo, damilo.
Damilo.
Yeah, let's hear. So this is maybe my favorite moment in the entire opera, or the entire the song. You know, he says, give it to me. Give it to me. You know what I mean? He needs this. He shows his urgency. You know what I mean? And then we've got this word damil, which has not only a double M, but also a double L. You know what I mean? And so the second time you sing that word damil, we need to hear almost 3 M's and 3 L's. You know, that's how we get this sort of expression. Whenever we're repeating something, we need to underline it 2 or 3 times. So let's just hear that the same thing. Me damilo, damilo, really sliding.
Damilo, damilo, et damilo nuvasilo, damilo canetella.
Good, very, very nice. Let's do the same thing, same principle that we've been working on. Continuing. Damilo e pigliadillo.
Damilo e pigliadillo, novaso pigliadillo, novaso pigliadillo.
Very nice, very, very nice. I love the expressivity of this phrase. It makes me think of the final scene, the final words of Carmen. You know, after Jose. Spoiler alert: Jose kills Carmen, and then he sings "Ma Carmen adore." And sometimes you hear people not necessarily express it as fully as you do. So I really, really appreciate that. Let's see if we can, because you figured out how to make this G work. Nova, and it's very beautiful. It's very clear. It sounds secure. The first time it was not maybe as secure as this time. I think that we can make it more consistently secure. And I also think that we can give it a little bit more color, you know, and try something for me. This is hard to do in 5 minutes or whatever, but just try Nova. Basically you sing Nuvazo. Try that. Lots of, beforehand. Sorry, beforehand, just make sure you're really supporting and really engaging your abdominal muscles, you know, really engaging your abdominal muscles to support this, because it's going to be a little bit different. But if you're supporting properly and you're finding the right resonance, you're going to find something really exciting. Nova. Not bad. Dare to let the vowel be a little bit less bright. Okay. Nova. Right now it's sort of Nova, which is nice. And the thing about it, and it's working. And this is just the truth. It becomes less and less secure as time goes on. It's not as safe. It's not as protected. It's not as sustainable. You're able to do it now. But there are a lot of great tenors throughout history whose careers were cut short just because they never really learned how to protect their throats particularly on A vowels, on G, even F sharp. You know, F sharp you could probably get away with, but G you really got to sort of turn that over. No va. Literally sing va. Forget the word is vaso. No vaso. Really support it. No vaso. Yeah. So that probably to you sounds like you're saying new vaso, but our ears hear yeah. I know, and it's very heroic because you have to sort of like launch it into that space when you're not accustomed to it, you know. But now that you've found it, see if you can do it a little bit more gracefully. No. I mean, to me, that's night and day. I mean, that's a professional operatic sound. Just truth be told, it's a completely different sensation. I mean, tell us, does it sound more or less loud? I wouldn't be surprised if you said it was less loud.
I don't know. I would have to play with it some more. I think it seems a little less loud because I'm not sure if all my resonance is, you know, like coming through or not.
Right. Well, here, sorry, I don't want to cut you off. We just don't have a whole lot of time. So look, I get it. It sounds less loud to you, right? I promise you it's not only louder, but it's also got so many more overtones. It's so much more rich. I mean, honestly, listen to me. Listen to the difference. I hope you can see these comments because people are over here, like, you know, starting a fan club in your name. So, like, listen. Nova, so piche. That's sort of the first way, right? Nova, so piche. I promise you, it sounds less loud to me the second time. And honestly, I were to hook it up to a decibel machine or something, I don't really know how it would actually sort of trigger or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, it sounds more robust, and certainly is it's probably about the same level in terms of actual volume. But the quality is just so much more rich. And like I said, not only is it more rich, but it's actually more sustainable. Right now, like I said, you can get away with doing what you're doing right now. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, honestly. Like people have had careers who sing this way, you know, but more often than not, it's cut short because it's just, it's too hard to sustain that. Nova, even I can do it, but it doesn't really feel good. You know what I mean? I'm not that much older than you. So the point I'm trying to make is this is not only more beautiful, but it's also healthier and more sustainable. Let's continue. Kepa. Nice. So this try closing this vowel. Rose. And I'm exaggerating so that you can hear what I'm doing. But see if you can make it basically almost you're singing Ruzilla, but Rose, a real closed, almost like a closed German E. On this, and you're probably gonna have to sing it loud first, and then we can figure out how to make it sound more soft. But I feel like this is the same thing. It'll sound more stable if the vowel is closed, and it'll also be a little bit more. There will be more color in the sound. So let's do que pare na rose. Does that feel a little bit more secure?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And honestly, you know, it sounds still like the word. Thank you, Shari. We just got a 2-minute warning. Ruse. So now do the same thing. Still support like mad. And I know you're trying to go for a more delicate color here, and it's a magical moment. You know, it's like this jump of a seventh, and it's the biggest interval in the whole thing. It's sort of you know, unexpected and marvelous, especially if you can achieve this sort of more delicate color. So what I would ask you to do is to stay supporting like mad, sing it with a more closed E, and just let more breath through. Instead of rose, rose. It's still the same sound. It's still the same resonance. Just let more breath, more airflow. Try it. Okay, Paul?
Is this with the soft or same thing?
Yeah. So this is actually how you achieve the softness.
Okay.
You know, you sing with the same intensity, the same support, just with more breath going through the chords. Okay, Paul. Yeah, not only does, you had more control too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean the diminuendo that you put on there was really, really stunning, and it was not only were the vibrations, more even. The voice sounded more secure and more under control with this more closed vowel, and then also on top of that there was more color in the sound because it was turned over and you were accessing this sort of head resonance that you don't necessarily have access to if the vowel is too open. Really beautiful. Let's see if there's anything else that I would really like to touch in the few moments that we have left. You know what? Gosh, it's so little time to be doing something like this. Have you heard this term chiaroscuro? Has that been something that's been said to you before? Yeah, right. So it's this idea of, like having brightness and darkness in the sound. And your sound has a beautiful amount of brightness, and you've also got some darkness in the sound as well. We always want at least a little bit of both, right? If you listen to Pavarotti, he's got this bright sound, but it's also got all this dark, rich color. Even when you listen to people like, with voice types like ours, like Juan Diego Flores and, Lawrence Brownlee, when you listen to them on recordings, you hear more of the brightness, but I promise you, I've heard them all. I've heard them both in person many times. There's a lot more darkness and warmth in the sound than you can tell from a recording. And frankly, there's probably more darkness in your sound than I can tell through Zoom. But the point I'm trying to make is I think that you can actually afford to sort of access more of that space. Just do something for me. We're just going back to the beginning.
Okay.
Let's see. So sing hung. So you're saying hung. Hung, with lots of space in the back. Hung. Good. Very nice. Already really, really, really great. So now shift from that ah to an e, but keep the same space. Hung. Yeah. So to me, that sounds like a little bit more of a balanced sound. It sounds like there's a little bit more color in that, and it doesn't sound artificial. It doesn't sound like you're trying to, depress your larynx to create this sort of artificially dark sound that you hear sometimes. Now do this for me. Hung from the hung and just keep it in that hung space. Good. Fine. So let's try to start it. Just maybe singing a few phrases this way. See if you can sing in this space, right? Really breathe, really support it. Si, come tutti poco rillo, acqua sfogliatella. Really nice, really, really nice, Michael. I mean, to me, that sounds, like I said, more balanced. I'm hearing more dark, like colors and richness in the tone, and it's still just as bright because we need that brightness to focus the sound and give it the clarity and the ring that we need as tenors. But I really like this. Does this feel okay to do this?
Yeah, it just feels like a lot of height. So
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And what it is, you're using all your resonance. You're using all your resonance as opposed to just sort of the front half of it predominantly. But this is really, really good. I think we have to go, unfortunately. But I'd love to hear more from you in the future, and I look forward to seeing both of your stars ascend because you're wonderful singers. And like I said, I mean, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Frankly, anyone on here. If you have any questions or just want to pick my brain about something, feel free to find me on Instagram, Martin Bakari1. And feel free to drop a question, and I'm happy to answer it. I don't know if we have time for questions. Professor Gruber, do we?
We do. If anybody wants to stay after, and if you're willing to give a few more minutes, I'm sure
I'm happy to.
Questions from our students. If anybody has to go to class, feel free to leave, but also feel free to and ask the questions.
Thank you again.
Sure, my pleasure.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Great. Happy to do it. I'm telling you, I love the comments that people are able to leave because it's one of those things. It's so valuable, master classes and stuff, because we spend so much time with students in the studio trying to convince them that this weird sound that they're making actually sounds awesome. And, they get to actually get immediate and honest and direct feedback from their colleagues, and it's just remarkable. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you for the comment. So yeah, does anyone have any questions?
So what brings you to Seattle at the moment?
You know, I've been a bit of a vagabond since I don't know if you guys heard about this this novel coronavirus that's been going around, but it's sort of, it's done some things to my schedule that have been less than ideal. But it's also been really wonderful because I've been teaching a lot more, and some of my projects have still gone through, and also at the same time I've been able to spend time with family, more time with family than I have in years, which is really, really wonderful. So I've got some family out here in Seattle, and I was actually born in Seattle. I grew up in Ohio, but my sister lives out here. I've got a couple aunts, a couple uncles and stuff. And so I'm actually just out here, in an Airbnb, because I want to be. But yeah, that's the only reason. I've sung out here with the company a number of times. I was in their production of On Yegan recently, and then I did Porgy and Bess with them as well. But no work, actually, just teaching and enjoying time with family and friends. Socially distanced time with family and friends.
Yes. Well, at least it's better than nothing, though, right?
Yeah, right.
Do any students have any questions? Anyone?
They probably had to run to class.
Probably.
Yeah, probably, right?
But if anybody is listening, I would like to thank Martin for saying things that I say all the time, and I hope that they believe me now about slurring the voice all over the place, because that sounds mushy to them, but that's the way to learn how to sing legato. And the NG is so important. I learned when I was 17 years old. It really is the most helpful thing to open up and feel the height and the vowel. And also that you hear your voice differently in your ear. You hear less, we hear more. And It's very hard to teach young singers that. They want to manipulate it so that they hear it the way they want to hear it. But we just let the voice, the air move through the vocal cords and into the resonators and go out. They hear less, we hear more. So I'm so happy that you said those things, because it validates things that I've always said. So
sure.
It's great.
Well, no, and I'll tell you, I mean, you're somebody who introduced me to this idea. I used to sing with so much tension because I wanted to hear every note. And I was keeping it for myself. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize that it was just staying in here and it wasn't finding its way out. But it's scary when we let it out because we hear it less.
Yeah.
We hear it less.
I just said that to Michael today because he sang this Avocat la famille, which is my family's dialect, actually.
Oh, wow.
So today was the first time that I worked on this dialect with him. Nu shrill is shrill. Damil Ramnetel. And I heard it as a child because my grandparents are they were Neapolitan and they spoke this at home. So it's in my ear. So it's funny how these things that you said were so helpful, Martin. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, hey, thank you. Honestly, I always feel a little bit, I usually give a little sort of warning ahead. I forgot to mention it today, but I tend to say something along the lines of, hey, I'm just here to try to help you as well as I can. I'm genuinely just trying to give you advice that I think is going to help you improve. But I mean, if your teacher tells you that what I'm telling you to do is crazy, listen to him or her, because I'm just some guy who you're going to work with for a few minutes and I don't want to mess you up. You know what I mean? And I don't think I'm messing anybody up, but at the same time, it's always nice to hear. It's always nice to hear that someone's actually happy that I work with their student. You know what I mean? Where we can be very protective. I've been there. You know what I mean? It's almost like we have this person that we care so deeply about and that we've been working so hard to help. And it can be very difficult to let somebody else sort of work with them for a while. But I mean, I appreciate you saying that, and I hope that the other professor isn't too upset about the weird things I was having his student do as well.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we're all kind of on a similar page here at CMU, which is nice.
Great.
So but thank you so much for your wonderful advice to these singers. It was really taken to heart, I think, by all of them, and they were so happy to try things. And thank you for presenting it in a way that made them all feel comfortable and ready to jump in.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Honestly, I love doing stuff like this. It always seems like we don't have quite enough time, but it's also really a cool thing to try to help somebody as much as you possibly can. Sometimes we can sort of meander in lessons. You know what I mean? We start explaining things with multiple analogies that may not necessarily be the most efficient way to like get to the point, but you have to be really efficient, you know, in things like this. And they kind of it's a real test to us as teachers. So I love doing this, and I really appreciate you asking me to be a part of this. And it's just great to see you all again.
You too. Thank you so much for making time.
Sure thing.
Thank you,
Take care,
Martin.
Jane.
Right.
Good
And I look
luck,
forward to
be
being
safe.
Thank you, and I look forward to being in Pittsburgh. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, you know, I think March 8th through something like April
This year.
23rd. Yep.
Yeah.
In like a month. Yeah. So I'll be around, and I know, you know, most of what we're doing is digital and stuff, but just know I'll be around for basically almost all of March and April.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Good.
cool.
Good to
Alrighty.
know.
Travels.
Yes, thank you very much. Take care,
Safe.
everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was terrific.
Oh, that was so great to see him. He's a wonderful teacher.
Isn't he wonderful?
He's
Oh,
fantastic.
but he's not only a wonderful teacher, but he's such a wonderful human being.
Yeah,
He's so
he really
giving
is.
and kind, and he's never changed from when I knew him at BU. He's always
Yeah.
been so respectful and kind and generous, and what he said was right.
It was
Very
perfect.
helpful.
It was exactly
Yeah.
what the student needed. Each
That's
one of
right.
them, you know, he
Each
came
one of them.
exactly where they were.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I hope he comes back sometime.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Oh, so I don't know whether I know the name of the person that I invited in the end of March is I don't know if anyone else is on, but it's a classmate of mine from years ago when we were grad students at New England Conservatory, Cheryl Sushil Bibbs.
Oh, wow.
She is African American, a wonderful